This Davante Adams saga should be coming to a close in the next couple of days. This thing is insane. I remember when he was about to get traded from Green Bay, and it made some noise, but this is a whole different level because at that time you didn't have like the coach of Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. He had his 2 cents, but it wasn't a ton coming from like the front office when it comes to aggressively trying to trade this guy away, at least from what I can remember. But the Davante Adams saga is probably going to come to an end in the next 24 to 48 hours, and here's why. This was on the Rich Eisen show. Ian Rappaport was on there. And according to him, the new league week begins Wednesday. So on Wednesday, Davante Adams will be owed that $960,000. It's almost $1 million per game that he is owed. If he's on the Raiders roster on Wednesday, then he will get that money from the Raiders. Now, the Raiders have been trying to trade this guy, and they've been trying to trade him with the kind of thought of getting a second round pick. But before we go there, the Raiders are a disaster of an organization. It reminds me of what the Lions used to be back in the day when William Clay Ford was still involved and you had Marty Morningweg and Matt Millen. I mean, our organization wasn't that much better. But this organization here seems to be a nightmare. They just cannot seem to get it right. They rehire John Gruden, give him a $10-year, $100 million deal. He leaves the team. He sues the NFL. Then they hire a guy that the players love, takes them to the playoffs, and they decide not to go with him. They go with the guy that had been in Denver, Josh McDaniels, who is horrible, probably the worst decision they could have made. They fire him, and then they might have jumped the gun on Antonio Pierce. Here's what Antonio Pierce had to say when asked about Davante Adams. Check this out. Says Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce on when things went wrong with Davante Adams. Quote, "I don't know. You'd have to ask Davante. Any updates on this situation, Pierce? It's the status quo." How in the world are you the head coach? You're supposed to be a leader of men, and you don't know when something went wrong with a player of yours? How about this? If you liked a tweet about him getting traded and it was an alleged mistake, which you claim it was, don't you call up probably your best player on offense and say, yo, I got big thumbs. I hit this by mistake. Yo, we good. Or if not, that might be the opportunity to hash things out, talk things out, and clear the air so we can make sure that we got the same goal. So Antonio Pierce, man, is looking to be a colossal joke. Now, we already discussed that if he's on the roster for the Raiders on Wednesday, they owe him $1 million. Teams have been trying to get the Raiders to absorb some of that money that for Davante Adams, not for next year, because Davante Adams is not going to be on any team under his current contract. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to get that reworked. It's very well that whatever team trades for him is going to let him go at the end of the season, because the Raiders, I believe, had an option, a club option to get out of at the end of this season. But teams are looking, the Raiders were looking for a second round pick. It doesn't look like that is going to happen. This is coming from Jordan Schultz. All right. So his 2 tweets here says the Raiders' preference as an organization is to get a Davante Adams trade done sooner rather than later. Per multiple sources. But the Raiders aren't going to do just any deal. And their preference has been not to take any of the money on from his contract. Expect things to ramp up this week. And then he actually retweeted that tweet with this tweet. The Raiders have been seeking a second rounder and an additional pick in a trade for Davante Adams per sources. Here's the thing though. I haven't gotten the sense that any team has come close to meeting that asking price as of right now. So let me get this straight. Davante Adams, you want a second round pick. You want an additional pick as well. On top of that, the team that trades for him without reworking a deal is going to absorb and be on the hook for $35 million and $36 million respectively in the next 2 years. That ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Dude, that's not going to happen. So you want You signed this deal, you have to pay the consequences. And now you're trying to trade him, and you want Davante Adams is a stud, even at 31. He'll be 32 at the end of the year. Still a stud, still a dog. I would love for him to play on my team. However, you're asking for 2 picks, 1 high round pick. Then you want us to pay the rest of his salary this year. And then you're going to trade those 2 things, and most likely he is not even going to be on the team next year and the year after that without a rework contract. So the Raiders, man, they just continue to show why that organization is such a mess. Real talk. Not only did they sign him to this deal when they traded him, right? Or traded for him. Then you brought him in with Derek Carr. That's why you brought him in. And then you ship off Derek Carr. What did you expect was going to happen? You got 2 quarterbacks who, I mean, can you really count on these guys? Can you really? So the Raiders are an absolute disaster. And again, me being a Detroit Lions fan, we've had our moments. We've had our moments at the bottom, where just the organization was in shambles, from upper management to coaching to players, just a hot mess. And now that, but I don't ever think we were this bad. This is bad. Even when Barry Sanders, when he was part of the team and he walked away, this is just, it still doesn't seem like it was that bad. Right? This is just a nightmare. So Davante Adams will probably be traded in the next couple of days. I'm going to say tomorrow. It could be like late night tonight or tomorrow. Now, the thing is, where is he going to go? According to, I want to say it was one of the insiders, his preferred destination is the Jets, but the Saints are also on there as well. Then you got like outsiders when you have the Washington Commanders and things like that. But the caveat is, in order to trade for Davante right now, you have to have enough cap space in order to make that trade. So right now he's owed almost $14 million. I think that drops down on Wednesday. So I don't know if anybody's going to trade this guy, knowing that they're not going to. So the team that he goes to, if they trade him after Wednesday, won't be responsible for that $1 million. So this is going to be something, it's going to break the internet for sure. What team is going to land Davante Adams? I want to say there's only a handful of teams right now with the available cap space. The Dallas Cowboys, the 49ers. I think the Jets are up there too. The Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions. So it's a few teams that he could sign him right now without making any moves. So put in the comment section. I had to make this video because this is all we've been watching for the last week. And this is up, Ian Rappaport, a lot of insiders think he's going to be traded if the Raiders can come down. Some teams want them to eat some of that money as well. And I think that's what they want them to do, is eat maybe some of that not the signing bonus, but the roster, the $1 million that he's getting almost every week. If you can eat some of that, because essentially Davante Adams will be a loner. He's going to be a loner. He's going to be like that Odell Beckham Jr., where you trade for him and then you make a run to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I tell you what. The Buffalo Bills, they look like they could use a Davante Adams after yesterday's showing. So could they be, I don't know if they have the cap space, but could they be kind of like have an outside shot at landing Davante Adams? But like I said, if you start seeing people clear cap space, they're trying to make a play for Davante Adams. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I appreciate all the support on this channel, man. Keep coming back, keep subscribing, keep liking the video, because we are here, man, and we ain't going nowhere. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in the next video.